So this is a pretty awesome little water feature here that's in the backyard, but it's had ongoing problems, and a lot of the ongoing problems is due to low capacity in the filtration and basically overstocking with the fish and relatively poor quality fish food. So what we've done is we've put a large pre-filter on the inlet of the filter for the fountain, so then the fountain can run. The advantage of having the fountain running is that it beautifully oxygenates the water, and it does sort of, the sound is quite ambient and nice for the backyard. And so that sponge that's on the inlet will need to be cleaned regularly, and you'll know that it needs to be cleaned when the water reduces. So if you notice the water not coming in as well as it used to, then pull the sponge off, give the sponge a clean. And the way that you want to give the sponge a clean is by just taking a bit of water out of the pond. You want to just put the sponge into a little tub, rinse it round, squeeze it out. You don't have to get it really clean, you just have to get all the crap out of it. Then just slide that back on. It should literally be a 2-second job. Now that pump's also got an impeller in it. So let's say once a quarter, you're going to want to pull the impeller out of the pump, clean the housing of the pump, clean the impeller and put it all back together again. Then there's a inlet filter. So the water coming out is coming out quite nicely at the moment. But if they did notice the water not coming out as well of the outlet, then the cage of that particular pump will need cleaning. And about once a quarter, I'd pull that apart and clean the impeller and the impeller housing as well. Now the other thing we've done too is in the bottom corner is we've dropped a large Aquarel water pump. And what the Aquarel water pump will do is give good water flow in the pond itself, which you can't see right now because it's all putridly dirty. The other thing we've done too to increase the bio load of the pond, or the bio capacity, is we've chucked a whole lot of marine pure balls on the bottom. Now at the moment you literally can't see them, and that's because we've just done a water change on the pond and it's really dirty. But over time, the good bacteria that will grow in those marine pure balls will really help the biological capacity of the pond. If they're sort of scattered through the bottom, you can sort of push them to the corners. They look like just little stones. They look totally fine. Then what we've done around the back here is, that's the original filter there, and we have a UV here. So the water comes out of the pond through this pipe, that pipe there. We've replaced the UV sterilizer, but at the moment the UV sterilizer is switched off because we want the UV sterilizer off for about a month to ensure that good bacteria gets into the filter. Whenever you put in a new filter, or if you have ammonia or nitrite problems and you need more bacteria, make sure you turn your UV sterilizers off, because the UV sterilizers will kill the bacteria going into the filter. So this particular unit, it goes from the UV, then it goes into a new pressure filter that we have here, and that we only installed that today. Now that also has a UV unit on it, and we will not be switching that on for the same reason. And now it's going to take about a month for good bacteria to grow in that filter before it's of much use. Then it goes from there and it pumps into this old filter. This old filter has got various mattings and so forth, so the water's flowing nicely through that at the moment. So once again, the media inside both those filters need to be cleaned in water from the fish pond, not water from the tap. And this has a UV in here that we have not replaced, which we wouldn't bother for now because we've just replaced the big one. And in about a month's time we can fire up the UVs. There's 1, 2, 3 UVs on this particular system, but we will not fire them up until we are sure the good bacteria is established in the pond and we've got almost the crap out of the pond, and by the time it's biologically stabilized. This will not happen quickly. So for now, I think about a 50% water change once a week would be of massive benefit, and trying to use a nice big thick siphon hose to suck all the crap out of the bottom of the pond. And then when we refill the pond again, we want to make sure that we're using a tub or something, and we just fill the tub up. We add some water agent to the tub, a little bit of carbonate powder and a little bit of conditioning salt, and then we tip that back into the pond again. And while we're worried about the water quality of the pond, adding a bit of water agent like Prime daily will help to detoxify the ammonias and nitrites and will help to buy the fish time while you're waiting for the good bacteria to grow. So once again, fish keeping, regardless of whether it's a pond or an aquarium, make sure there's plenty of oxygen, make sure the surface has very good agitation, and then half of fish keeping is all about water quality, and the other half of fish keeping is all about fish food. So what we're going to do is start using this fish food. So this is Danichi, which is the best food you can get. It's a slow cooked bioencapsulated food, and that will just make sure that the fish are getting all the good vitamins and minerals and so forth they need. The other thing we are going to do is start hitting the pond with a bit of aquarium detox. That introduces bacteria from mud, because this gets a lot of leaves and a lot of flowers and stuff that goes into the pond. So the sludge removing aspect of the aquarium detox will help to break down and assimilate the physical waste. So will really help to break down those leaf litter and so forth that's going into the pond, and will have a very good long-term effect. So we'll try to replace, or we'll try and put a little bit more of that in every quarter, and then eventually this will be a pretty awesome pond once it's crystal clear. Nice, healthy, happy fish. This will be a pretty awesome asset to a beautiful backyard.